The sun was setting when 5 friends pulled their dusty SUV onto the muddy trail that led deep into the Blackwood forest. The air was still, unnaturally still, as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Jenna leaned out the passenger window and whispered, "Are you sure this is the right place?" Noah, who was driving, gave a crooked grin. "Yeah. My uncle owned a hunting cabin here before he went missing." No one laughed. The cabin stood at the end of the trail, half rotten, swallowed by creeping vines and damp moss. Its windows were black and cracked, and the roof sagged like a dying beast's back. A rusted sign swung in the wind, though there was no wind at all. Noah grabbed the keys from the glove box, and they stepped out, their boots sinking into the mud. Jenna wrapped her arms around herself. This place feels wrong. Inside, the air was thick and stinking of mildew and iron. The wooden floorboards groaned like something alive. Cobwebs hung like skeletal drapes, and a single trapdoor was embedded in the center of the floor. "Creepy," laughed Mike, the loudest of the group, kicking it lightly. The sound echoed. They explored the cabin, lighting candles and lanterns since the power was long dead. In the back room, under a collapsed shelf, Noah found an old book, its cover made of leathery, stitched-together skin. A grotesque face was carved on the front, its mouth twisted into an endless scream. Beside it lay an ancient, rusted hunting knife, still wet with something dark as if time itself refused to let the blood dry. "What the hell is this?" Jenna asked, recoiling. Noah smirked. "A book, obviously." Mike flipped it open despite everyone's protests. The pages were filled with frantic scrawls in a language none of them recognized, along with horrific sketches of mangled bodies and things with too many teeth. At the end of the book was a phonetic translation. Mike laughed and began to read the words aloud. The moment the final syllable left his mouth, the temperature in the cabin dropped. The candles flickered violently. A low moan slithered from the trapdoor, like breath escaping a rotting corpse. Then came the scratching, slow at first, then frantic, desperate. Something was down there. Jenna screamed when the trapdoor burst open. The smell hit them first, an overpowering stench of decay and old blood. Black, rotting fingers clawed at the edges of the opening, and a pale, eyeless head emerged. Its jaw hung loose, and its tongue, long and black like a serpent, flicked at the air. Noah shouted. Mike stammered, backing away as blood seeped from the cracks of the trapdoor. The forest outside seemed to awaken. Branches scraped against the windows, though no wind blew. Jenna peeked out and froze. The trees were moving, not swaying, but creeping closer, their roots dragging like tendrils of something alive. The banging beneath the trapdoor stopped. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then, bang! The table flew across the room, smashing into the wall. The thing emerged fully now, its flesh sagging like wax, its spine twisting with audible snaps. It had no eyes, only bleeding sockets, and its nails were as long as carving knives. Noah grabbed the rusted hunting knife. "We have to fight!" he yelled. Mike was the first to fall. The creature lunged at him with unnatural speed, its fingers plunging into his chest like hot iron through butter. Blood sprayed across the walls as Mike screamed, his voice cracking into gurgles. The monster ripped out his ribs one by one, tossing them aside like meat scraps. Jenna and Claire ran for the door, but the trees outside had already wrapped their roots around the cabin. They were trapped. The floor trembled as more scratching came from below. Multiple hands were clawing their way up now. Noah stabbed the creature in the throat. The thing laughed, a deep, demonic sound that echoed in the rafters. It grabbed Noah by the face and slammed him against the wall until his skull cracked open like a melon. Claire screamed as another corpse-like figure crawled out of the trapdoor. This one smaller, with a long centipede crawling out of its split mouth. She grabbed a lantern and hurled it, igniting the floor. The flames spread fast, licking the rotten wood. The creatures shrieked but didn't burn. They walked through the fire as if it were nothing. Jenna stumbled backward, slipping on Mike's blood. She crawled toward Noah's body and grabbed the rusted knife, her hands shaking. One of the creatures lunged at her, but she plunged the blade into its chest. It screamed. No, not screamed, howled with dozens of voices, as if a choir of the damned was trapped inside it. The cabin shook violently. "The book!" Claire shrieked. "We have to burn it!" She grabbed the skin-bound book and threw it into the flames. But instead of burning, the book screamed. Its flesh bubbled and twitched as if alive. The pages flipped on their own, the demonic language spilling into the room like whispers in their skulls. Blood began to rain from the ceiling, thick, hot, and metallic. It drenched the floor, pooling around their ankles. The walls pulsed, veins spreading through the wood like the cabin itself was alive. Jenna slipped again and looked up. Mike's corpse was hanging upside down from the rafters, its mouth stretched impossibly wide, eyes glowing red. "Join us," it rasped, in a voice that was both Mike's and something else entirely. The door burst open, not from outside, but from the inside out. Tree roots exploded into the room, wrapping around Claire's legs and dragging her toward the trapdoor. She screamed, clawing at the floorboards, but her nails tore off like paper. The roots yanked her down, and her body snapped in half as she disappeared below. Jenna was alone now. The knife trembled in her hands. The remaining creatures closed in, grinning with lipless mouths. Their eyes, or the sockets where eyes should have been, burned with crimson light. "No," she whispered, "I won't be one of you." She slashed at the first creature, then the second, but they didn't stop. A hand punched through her stomach, fingers bursting out her back. Blood gushed like a fountain as she screamed, coughing crimson bubbles. The forest roared, a guttural, hellish sound. The ground split open beneath the cabin, revealing a pit of churning black flesh and writhing bodies. The creatures lifted Jenna high above their heads and hurled her into the pit. Her scream was cut short as the darkness swallowed her whole. When dawn finally came, the cabin was silent again. The trapdoor was closed, the forest still, as if nothing had happened. The book lay on the floor, unburned, its face smiling faintly. Hours later, a pair of hikers stumbled upon the trail. They followed the muddy path, curious about the strange smell. When they reached the cabin, they noticed the front door slightly ajar. One of them laughed nervously. "Dude, let's check it out." Inside, the walls were clean, the floor dry. But as one hiker bent down to pick up the strange leather book, the pages began to turn on their own. And deep beneath the trapdoor, something laughed.